Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiss Corporate Goodbye. You are going to love today's episode. We have a fabulous guest. Her name is Gelie. Yes, she only needs one name because she's that fabulous. She is the networking queen of Arizona and soon to be conquering the world.
And you are going to be so surprised how you hear she used network marketing as her surprising pathway to really find her passion. Her story is incredible, and we can't wait for you to hear it. Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Kiss Corporate Goodbye. I am so excited and fired up to introduce the one and only Gelie. She is going to be sharing her amazing story, and I'm going to share a little bit more about how we know each other, but Sherry's going to give you a proper introduction.
Yes. So, and I'm going to read this because you're so fabulous. I don't want to miss anything. So Gelie is the CEO, founder of networkingphoenix.com, the largest professional organization in the Valley with over 40,000 members. That is just awesome. She is who you engage with when you understand the value of that one connection that can change the trajectory of everything. Gelie consults business owners on strategic business development and relationship marketing, as well as facilitates high-level warm introductions and runs influence marketing campaigns through her own media channels. A seasoned presenter, one of Gelie's favorite accolades was being invited to share her message on a TEDx stage. Woo-hoo! As her tagline goes, "Who do you want to meet? I'll introduce you." And I just have to say something before Kim jumps in. When I started networking in Phoenix about 10, 11 years ago, the only place that I went was Networking Phoenix. You have the most amazing platform, and it was my go-to, and it still is my go-to when I want to know what is happening in Arizona. So go ahead, Kim.
Well, and I, of course, met you at a networking event, right?
Yes.
And really, you truly are like the go-to girl. And one of my favorite things about you is just your integrity. You do what you say you're going to do. You just operate at such a high level that I am just so in awe and inspired by you. But I want you to kind of share with everyone your background and tell us a little bit about you and what part of that network marketing played in kind of your transition. So how you were introduced to network marketing too.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on and for this incredible introduction. You just gave me this huge dopamine. So thank you. I don't need sugar anymore today. I'll still eat it though. And So we're talking about how network marketing played a role in me launching Networking Phoenix, right? All right. I mean, and I know that's what we're talking about. I just wanted to make sure that's where we want to pick up. So,
and tell us your background so we can get a big picture of how fabulous you are and what your journey has been.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to share. So I did the traditional thing, meaning I went to college. I graduated from ASU with a degree in communications. Obviously, love anything communications marketing has always been, my jam. So I graduated with that and had 2 jobs out of college that related, essentially to my degree. The first one, I was a publicist. And then the second one, I was doing internal employee communications for a large corporation. And what I started to discover about myself is that, so keep in mind, right, this is early 20s, mid 20s, right? We're all going through self-discovery. I mean, we never stop going through self-discovery, right? But this is kind of right at the beginning, like post-college, like, I've achieved all the things society told me to achieve, what's next type of a situation. And what I started to discover about myself is that I don't have a problem working. Like, I'm a very hard worker. I guess I'm very passionate about my work, but working for somebody else was a big challenge for me. Like, I did not want to get out of bed on time. I wanted to leave work as early as I could. I was just not motivated the same way. And I was bored and dealing with all their personalities. I'm like, who are these people? Like, how do they survive? Like, Sherry, I love what you were talking about, integrity. Talk about integrity, man. I mean, I'm sure we've all worked with people who have like no integrity, and so there's just these really weird situations I was put in, and I started to get really depressed. I mean, I was depressed. It was horrible. I'm like, this is not what I signed. I'm like, this is going to be the rest of my life. Yeah, I don't think so. And it was at that moment in time that one of my friends, she'd approached me and she's like, hey, listen, I started doing this network marketing situation with this company. And, I think maybe you'll really like it. And at first, when somebody tells you that, like, all the bells and whistles go off in your head. It's like, now they're never going to leave me alone. I don't know, whatever, like all the preconceived notions that we have about network marketing. Right. But whatever, she's my friend. I'm bored out of my mind. I'm going to hang out, we go hang out. She tells me about it. And I'm like, listen, I say to her, I can't say that I think that this is in part of my vision, but I'm going to tell you that I'm so bored out of my mind right now. And I'm so miserable that if this is going to give me the opportunity to interact with you, and kind of try this thing out, sure, I'll try it. Like, I was like, what is it going to hurt me at this point? So we get involved, I join her team, and, she walked me through the initial, like, here's what you order. He's like, here's like the initial kit and da-da-da. I mean, I don't remember all the details, but here's what I do remember. I was like, even as I was doing it, I'm like, I don't know, what am I really doing? Like, why am I doing this? Right? Like, the ego, like everything starts the voices in your head. Okay, no worries. So all the stuff comes, I open up the packages, I start playing with it. And I'm like, okay, so I need to create a strategy, right? Because there's like, they gave me numbers I had to hit and this and that. And I'm somebody that achieves goals, right? I mean, if you don't know that about me, right? I'm like, okay, so how do I achieve this? And I come up with a strategy. And, you first want to start with your warm market and, blah, 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 whatever. So I create this strategy and I start calling people, having conversations. What I'm trying to say is, like, within the first 24 or 48 hours of me having the product in my hand and creating a strategy and then taking even a little bit of action on it, there was something awoke in me that I've never experienced before. It was this fire. I was like, I couldn't sleep. I was on this high. I'm like, what is going on with me? I was so happy. So happy. I'm like, what is happening? And, I couldn't maybe even explain it back then, but I can tell you now, it was my entrepreneurial self that was like, oh, thank God she figured it out. She cannot have a job. So it was this entrepreneurial side of me that was just dying to get out. And I finally gave her something to kind of like put her, fingers into. And let me tell you, I was killing it. Like, I was on a mission. If you knew me, like, at that moment in time, like, I remember, this is so funny. I'm like laughing at it now. I was like driving to these people's homes and talking to them. And I remember so my husband at the time, where his mom lived, like the childhood house, like the neighbor across the street. Okay. Like, if I was connected to you in any way, shape, or form, we were going to have a conversation. Like, that's what I'm saying. And I was so fired up about it. So I was on it. I was hitting all the numbers. It was incredible, but I was doing it all by myself. Right. And one of the things about network marketing is you've got to build out a solid team. You need these solid business builders, right? We know that. And what I can tell you is that I did not want to do that. Like, that for me, that was a thing. Like, I'm like, I don't want to work with other people. Like, I like to be so independent. I'm like, I have to tell these people and I have to talk with their self-esteem. Why do you have self-esteem? What do you mean? You pick up the phone and you call them. What do you mean you're not going to call them? If you say you're going to do something, then do it. I told you to call these people like 10 days ago. So like, I couldn't deal with that. not to knock on that. I mean, that's a very realistic thing, but my personality type, like I love helping people, but that wasn't going to be a way that I could guide people through
Right.
things, you know, and I learned that pretty early on, and I'm like, so, okay, so what do I do? So I don't remember. So I went really hard for a long time, loved it. And then I woke up one day. Well, before I tell you that I woke up one day, let me tell you the story, the moment that actually brought me to where I am today. Because there was like a very defining moment, but again, it was through this network marketing journey. So there was a huge event that was being hosted here locally, and all the local reps, you know, we were all going to be at this event. And I remember nobody from my team was my upline, or like, it was so funny because I was the one motivating my upline. I was like, ladies, get your stuff together. We're in this, you know? And they were like, wait, we're your upline, but you're the one prodding us. You know, that was the case. So none of them were there, but I made it a point to go, and I was by myself, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm here by myself. I'm going to go sit up front, because that's just who I, right? I'm like, walk up right to the front. There's no seats left. I'm like, excuse me. I'm here by myself. I need somebody to move, like literally. So I made people move so I could sit right up front, sitting right up front. And this woman comes up on stage, and she starts delivering a speech. And I am looking at her, and I am like, who is she? Who's this angel in front of me right now? Who's like, every word out of her mouth was gold. And I am not really somebody that gets moved by too many people. This woman moved me like to my core. And I am sitting there and I'm like, I want to be her. I don't know who she is. I don't know what she does, but she's at the top of this stage, and there's God knows how many thousands of people in this giant room right now. I want to be her. I'm going to be at the top of my network. And at that moment, I was thinking it was going to be this company I was with. That's not how life turned out for me, but it was that defining moment where I was like, I want to be like her at the top of this network situation. And so again, continued on with, you know, with my journey. And then one day I woke up and I was just done with it. And the reason is because for me personally, okay, so two things. One, I told you I wasn't going to be a team builder. And two, there wasn't enough creativity in it for me. And I'm somebody that needs to constantly create and create and create. I mean, if you saw the tabs on my computer screens, so many, and each one's a project idea, and I execute on them. You know, I create and execute. So it's like, I feel that I achieved in my network marketing journey. I achieved everything I was going to achieve at that point in my life. And there was nothing else for me to create. And that's why that day I woke up and it was done. So, but the entrepreneurial fire had already been ignited, right? So that wasn't going to stop. But I know
it sounds like too. Hold on, I want to go back because
please. Yeah.
I think that, I mean, just like Sherry and I, we were in this corporate environment and we were tired of working for somebody else, and we had the entrepreneur bug, but we didn't know how to ignite it. Just like you, we were just like, what are we going to do? Because we'd been in our industries for a long time, and you know, you're kind of trapped because you're making a good living, but you're not fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And not everyone can wake up and decide, I can't do this, right? And so kudos for you for at least being open to opportunity, because I really think that's a first step for so many people, is just explore. Because when Sherry came to me about, hey, let's do this network marketing, I'm like, what? I'm not doing that. And I had all kinds of, you know, preconceived notions, probably some of the same ones you had, and we'll chat about that. But really, I was just like, at that point, kind of like you was like, I have to do something, because if I have to do this every day for the next 40 years, like a piece of me is just not going to make it. So, I mean, it ignited my entrepreneurship too, but I think it's just interesting that you knew early on that you didn't want to manage a team, but you still accomplished all of your goals, and that led you to where you are today. So kudos to you.
And I want to just touch on the entrepreneurial spirit as well, because I think a lot of people discount network marketing as an entrepreneurial venture because it's not the traditional start your own small business or start a franchise. But, you know, one of our goals really with this podcast is just to educate people, because you can be an entrepreneur. And even though it may not have been as creative as you had hoped, there is the opportunity for somebody, you know, just an ordinary person to be able to do extraordinary things with an entrepreneurial spirit and not having to give up their life to do that.
But also you were exposed to people who inspired you. And I don't know about you, but in my day job, I was not around people who inspired me.
Toxic people.
What else sort of, you know, what was your original misconceptions about network marketing? But like, what were the things that, you know, you said the voices in your head and all these things came up. What were some of those original things? Because I think so many people have those misconceptions.
Yeah. Well, no, you know, it's like, well, I'm not going to be doing Mary Kane selling lipstick, right? I mean, that's just the first thing that pops into.
Uh-huh.
Well, and I think the first thing that pops into your head is whatever experience you had with it. So for me, I don't know, Mary Kay was the only thing I could associate network marketing with at that time. And I'm also going to say I have very little interest in makeup. To this day, I'm actually a lot more interested in it now that I'm aging. I'm like, oh, I have to use makeup now, you know. The running joke with me and my best friend when we first met in college, like I didn't wear makeup for the longest time. And we have so many photos of us where we're out at the club partying and Gelie's not wearing makeup because didn't even know how to put it on, or did she care? So, I mean, that was just kind of the first, you know, thought that just jumps into your head. And then, you know, I think people are there's this, what is my family going to think? You know, because a lot of people care about the opinions of their families. And I don't know that I'm one of those people, but I'm not, you know what I mean? It's almost like, well, how are my friends and family going to react? And so for people that like actually care about that, I think that's a big deal. And then you know, I honestly don't remember. It was such a long time ago.
Well, and it sounds like you just jumped anyway.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And you took a leap of faith, which is what, you know, we kind of encourage a lot of people to do. Like, take that leap of faith, because you never know. And for you, it became this great pathway to really understand who you wanted to be, what you wanted to do. And it ignited that entrepreneurship.
And I think your jump of faith and leap of faith was so much different than a lot of people who jump into it maybe with more fear attached. And, you know, a lot of times people will do this, but there are a lot of fears behind that. Was there anything that you were afraid of when you started?
Yeah, wasting money, I think. Like, you know, what if I buy this and I don't do anything with it? Now I've just wasted a whole bunch of money.
Mm-hmm. And what was your experience?
I don't remember if I wasted any money, but I think what I'm saying is the initial investment,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, I think a lot of people just have a challenging time investing in themselves. And this is something I've learned not just from network marketing, but just from, you know, running a company. And I was one of those people that didn't know how to invest in myself. And not only was I was young, but I also just have this, you know, I'm a refugee. So I just have this mentality growing up. We do not waste money. We do not buy anything we don't need. You know, we don't need to get into my whole psychology, but it was very challenging for me to spend money on myself in any capacity.
Well, I think that's a good point, though, because I think most people are afraid to invest in themselves. And that, I think, whether it's this type of business, whether it's coaching, you know, whether it's even networking, I mean, all of those things are like investing in yourselves. And I think, you know, you can't even put a price on it, and you just never know where it's going to lead you and how it's going to show up for you and who you're going to meet.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. So I think, I think some of the challenge, like now in retrospect, I also didn't quite understand it as a business opportunity the way I would now, but that's now I have 12 years of business experience, right? So it's almost like I wouldn't have had that. And like, how do you have that when you've never run your business? If I were to join a network marketing company now, it would be so, like, I would do it so differently. I would have such a different strategy. But now I understand business strategy too, so again, it's like, how do you teach that to somebody that's newer to it? Or how do you explain it? I don't know that you do. I think it just needs to come from experience, and all of us have such a different experience. But what's cool about it is that we all have such a unique journey. And I think you can create different things, within a network marketing experience as well. And again, for me, I just kind of at that moment in time, I hit, whatever level I needed to hit. And not only that, but I mean, to me, like what I created is, that was my baby. Like I birthed this baby. So obviously I was meant to go down this path. Right. But before that happened, where am I trying to go with it? I don't really know where I'm trying to go with it, but I'm trying to put myself back into the mindset of what I was thinking and visualizing back then. And I understood that it's about having this network and building a large network, but I also didn't quite understand how I would build it.
Well, right? And I just want to go back a little bit, because you were talking about this is a business and there was a strategy in place. And I think that is something that surprises a lot of people. I think a lot of people have misconceptions that network marketing is just, this little at-home business or this little side hustle. But in fact, it truly is a business. And I think people are surprised to hear that. And so I'm just curious, is there anything that surprised you about network marketing besides maybe the fact that you realized that you didn't want to lead a team or, things like that, but anything that surprised you?
Well, I was surprised by, again, just how in love with it I was. And so quickly, like I didn't, like you said, I was just looking at it from a very different lens. I didn't realize it was going to wake up this entrepreneurial side in me, but I also didn't quite realize I had it. So there was, what it is, if I had to pinpoint it, there was so much personal growth I experienced through network marketing that it was a very important stepping stone, a very instrumental stepping stone in my journey. Right. So, I mean, it was so instrumental that, like, I love sharing this story because I think everyone should try a network marketing business if they haven't. There's so much that you learn within a network marketing business that you're not going to learn. I mean, not that you're not going to learn, but it's almost like it's a structured way to learn. Right? Because the cool thing about a network marketing business is that you actually do have an upline that can give you training and guide you. And it does come with some kind of a structure. So, you're not just like flailing all over the place. Oh, I woke up and I'm going to run a business today. And how do I do it? I mean, you need to learn somewhere.
Exactly. And it's funny because I tell lots of people that no matter what, whether this is your stepping stone, whether this is your pathway, whether you start to have a bigger vision, the skills that you're going to learn are going to help you no matter what you do. And I think I heard you say a little bit more is kind of this success in network marketing. It just helped build your confidence so that you could wake up one day and go, okay, I'm done. I think it's the personal growth, the confidence. And you're right, you have a team around you that is teaching and training you. So it's not as scary as going it on alone, I think. Okay, so just to kind of wrap up, you started in corporate. You found out really early that you weren't going to work for somebody else. And you started network marketing. You realized you didn't want to build a team. But now you have this monstrosity of this humongous networking business with so many amazing people. And so, what has sort of changed in your life or anything that network marketing taught you that helped you run this incredible business that you now have?
Well, it was, the pivotal moment in network marketing was when I saw this vision of me being on top of a giant network. Right. And so that I replicated the model, but just within my own company. So when I, created the networking passport, basically the goal was like, how do I get a whole bunch of people paying me money? Right? Like, because I mean, in essence, that's, of course there's different models, but in essence, that's the model. You build the team, they're underneath you, and whatever they sell, you get, there's this recurring revenue. So I was like, how do I do that? So, network marketing gave me, that was part of like my vision for what I then essentially try to build for myself. But mind you, also when I started, so the reason I started networking was because of the network marketing company too, right? So if I wasn't doing network marketing, I wouldn't be out there networking, right? So once I stopped the network marketing, I still kept networking. But now I had nothing to talk about, essentially. I mean, not talk, but, nothing to hustle, really. But I kept networking because I loved it. And so it's so tied in. It's so part of my journey. Like, I don't know how I would be where I am now without if we take that piece out. Not to say it couldn't have happened, but that's how it happened. So I literally, the reason I started attending networking events is because my friend's like, okay, well, here's the kit, and you got to go meet people. So I took the kit and where do I go to meet people? Okay, I'll go to networking events, right? That's just how it all got connected. So how's my life now because of network marketing? I mean, it's incredible. I have freedom. I put a quote up on my page last night on my Facebook. I'll read it. Because I think this applies so well. Freedom is being responsible for your own reality.
Ooh, I like that.
Right. And that's essentially my life is, I know I'm responsible for my own reality. And I do think that network marketing is an incredible vehicle to allow people to create their own reality. And I love the way that it worked out for me, because I didn't end up staying with a company. But
you found your passion.
100%. And years later, I walked into a room, and unbeknownst to me, this woman that I saw on stage was in the room. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah. So I went up to her and I told her the story. I was like, I have to tell you, like, you changed my life. Like, you probably hear this all the time because you're incredible, but let me tell you my story. You're here and I'm going to tell you. And I told her, and she was so gracious. And then we had just such a wonderful conversation that I felt like it came full circle, That's
awesome. Awesome. So anything else you want to share?
And we want to know how to connect with you.
Yes.
Too.
Tell us how to connect with you, how to be part of your network, how to learn some of your business strategies maybe.
And maybe what's next too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, all of that sounds amazing. So if people are interested in networking, they can go to networkingphoenix.com, right, which is my website. They can create their free profile on there, and they have access to all the different networking events happening in the Valley. Our calendar lists majority of the networking events happening in town. So it's a one-stop shop. It's just a great resource. And again, it's
awesome. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. And it's free. And then there's different, optional paid memberships, right? So if they want, the passport is there and it explains to them what it is, but essentially you pay, it's $20 a month and you can attend a whole bunch of these paid events for free. And usually just one event is $20. So, you can see how
it's so worth it. Yes.
Thank you. I mean, I think so too. So that's and then the other thing that I do, I run these 8-week networking certification courses. Which have been so incredibly powerful for the people that have gone through them. But I teach people the fundamentals of how to network in order to get clients. Most people do not know how to network. Like they think free food is a networking strategy, and it is not.
No.
They think it's about their company. They think it's about their business card. Their icebreaker is, hi, my name is what do you do? These are all horrific things. It's like watching a bad car accident, right? So the people that come to me, we start the very class we start with, like, I actually teach people how to genuinely connect. And there's just so many aspects all the way in between, like in the different weeks. And then we ended with, I teach you how to nurture your network, to actually send an email and get them to click and buy, which is
awesome.
What we all want, right? And everything in between. So that right now, that's like my passion. And then because of all the virtual stuff that's been happening, I just had a virtual call, virtual connections call before we got on this podcast. I had somebody there from Italy and I had somebody there from India.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Incredible. So I have people joining my calls from all over the world, and both of them messaged me and were like, oh my God, that was incredible. Like, they couldn't believe how they connected and the common. I can't believe people from different countries can join our call and speak in English so well. I mean, that's what I'm amazed at, from their countries. So this is now making me think, why am I limiting my virtual calls to Phoenix? I really should be opening this up to the whole world. I mean, essentially,
absolutely,
it's already happening. So that's what's happening for the future. And yeah.
Awesome. Well, instead of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I think if you know Gelie, you're 1 degree of anything.
Yes, she is a master connector, and we so appreciate you being on our show. We're going to put all your contact info in the show notes, and we just wish you all the best and continued success.
And we can't wait to see you virtually or in person soon.
Yes. Oh, thank you, ladies. You're so wonderful. And I love that you're doing this.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
We appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.